Welcome, everyone. I'm Ashish Kaushal, the CEO of Hire Talent. We're excited for this new series we decided to launch for a very important conference, the SIA CWS conference, which happens every year. And it's basically the biggest staffing conference out there. So there's a lot to learn from it, and there's always a lot of new buyers that come in. And so I thought it would be interesting to have sort of a series that, one, highlights the conference, what we would like to see from it, what buyers want to see from it, best practices, and then even things like how do you get the most out of it. And so we're excited to welcome the president of SIA, Ursula Williams, to give us some pointers and to make sure that we get the most out of the ton of opportunities that happen during the conference. Welcome, Ursula.
Thank you, Ashish. I'm thrilled to be here. I've always wanted to be on LinkedIn Live with you.
You know, it's funny. We've been doing this for like 7 years, and I was thinking about yesterday, like I'm shocked that we haven't done this yet together.
Well, it's because we do other things together.
Exactly.
Lunch, dinners, meetings, talk about the future and the present and where it's all going.
Absolutely. So what's so special about this year? What are the key topics? What are you excited about?
I'm excited about a lot. I think first I'll talk about key topics, and then I want to hit on some of just what has happened over the last year to really bring the excitement in. Mm-hmm. The key topics that we have, we changed things based on some of the things that we heard from our customers, from people like you as well. But our two big keynotes, we have Peter Riggin, who's going to be doing the keynote, internal Peter. And it's interesting because Dawn, who leads the contingent workforce management practice within SIA, Dawn McCartney usually does North America and Peter does Europe. Mm-hmm. And they decided to switch this year. So that's really fun. And we're excited about that. Peter's going to wrap in quite a bit of our research and advisory that we have into the keynote. And what's really unique and special about that is the team worked incredibly hard to publish an extraordinary amount of research and key insights in July. Some of the information that we get out in November and December. So double time work. So we're going to have a lot about that, and it's going to be great. We changed up how we approached our external keynote. We were going a lot on inspiration and excitement, and somebody who would bring in just a lot of enthusiasm to it. And this year, we really felt strongly that we needed to up it and go more into business information. Mm-hmm. So Marcy Russell is somebody who we've worked with in the past at some of our other events. She was the former chief economist of CNBC. And Marcy approaches the economy and what's happening in the economy in a really unique and extraordinary way. She has super high energy. She should have probably been in our line of business and staffing or workforce solutions. But Marcy will come and she will talk about exactly what is going on and what are some of the the geopolitical and just from the tariffs and what's happening and what has happened along the way this year, last year. But she'll draw on history to also bring in what she sees changing for the job market, specifically for the way work gets done, for businesses, for large enterprises. She's got a real macro perspective on things, but she's got this ability to just bring it right down to everything we know. So we're super excited. We're meeting her in a little bit for our final prep and discussion around the event, but we're excited. It's a big change. We've integrated a couple workshops that it gets difficult when you do so many events because people are very comfortable with the panel format, but the panel format also gets really hard for people to sit in session after session after session. We've talked about that. And yet it's really hard to be able to pull off something a little bit more interactive when you have an event of this scale. I was looking at the stats, we're going to have, might be the largest ever. At the very least, it'll be, last year was pretty big. We're closing in on 600 just qualified right now. And we usually see a pretty big uplift in the final couple weeks as well. It's over. I think it's going to be close to 350 different companies that are all enterprise companies. So it's hard, but Dawn and the team have integrated a couple of these. One is, I was just rethinking, how the work gets done, right? Who, what, when, how. So I think that's going to be interesting. They've got handouts, they've got worksheets. People are going to work through that. And another on just job taxonomy, like, rates, roles. Again, looking at different, how you put your program together differently. We're in the land of, it's not, are you going to do it this way or this way?
Mhm.
I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to do it this way. And I think that's one of the things that excites me a lot outside of the program. Technology has finally caught up to the vision of where you and so many of our other, workforce solutions, subject matter experts, professionals have been, the leaders, the cutting edge ones, talking about how you can integrate all different forms of work to get the work done, and from different ways in terms of how people want to engage and how companies want to engage. Is it a job? Is it a project? Is it a task? Is it an SOW? Is it, is a freelancer going to come in? I think technology has arrived. And it's funny, right? Because technology usually leads, and then people are trying to catch up. I think that there's been a group that's been incredibly visionary within our council and with our workforce solutions. And I think it's here. We've seen some of these big moves, right? We've seen some really big acquisitions announced in the last couple of months that bring us there. So, those are, I could go on, but those are just a few of the things that really get me excited.
Well, I'm excited about two things that you said there. One is the and. So I kind of feel like we've been hearing a lot about like AI and how it's going to replace us. And I call AI in today's instance American intelligence with a tech stack layered on top of it. So it's an and, not an or.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll eventually get to a point where we'll see massive changes in that area. But I think that's interesting. And then number two is, when my conversations with buyers this year, a lot of them aren't sure what to do because of the macroeconomic impacts. And I think hopefully the speaker will actually help everyone come up with a plan for 2026 and kind of open the plans and start executing on them,
Yeah.
Might be there.
Yeah. I mean, what we're hearing right now already is it depends. It depends in what line of work, what industry that organizations are in and what they're doing. Yeah. There's definitely ramp. Yeah. And there are organizations, and if you listen to some of the quarterly earnings reports of some of the large, even staffing and recruitment firms, you'll get a sense of the ones that are growing. When you look into the details and they're public, they've picked up some pretty large projects that have been fueled by their AI integrations and capabilities. So I think you're right. Like, I see AI as a big augmenter. Like, it really can help shape and improve. The replacement, sure, there's going to be some things, but I think that it's really what it does, and when it wraps around a solution, a value prop, and the organization knows what they want to get done, it just is like this extra fuel and booster to get it done.
Yeah. How many new buyers are coming this year versus last year?
That's a good question, and I had a feeling you would ask. I think it usually ranges around 45% of, let's see where we are, 46% of attendees are new. And you know what? 39% are 1 to 3 and 1 to 3 years. And a little, I want to say something about this. I think that when we share that stat, we share that stat leading up to the event. We share that stat in the morning of the keynote of it. And it's not a secret. We want people to understand the target audience of this collective group that is there. We really firmly believe you gotta know who's in the room so you can meet them where they're at, pull them forward, address their needs. But this is one thing I say to everybody: do not underestimate when it says somebody's 1 to 3 years in the job. I think it's really easy to go, oh, they're new. I got to teach them. They're new. Go to their LinkedIn. You'll see they are not new. They in business and in the profession. They're new to the program, where they're coming with fresh minds and fresh ideas. And quite frankly, they don't really understand some of the old ways of how things were done.
Yeah.
And so I think there's this, really seek to understand who they are and ask them the questions before really starting to go hard on them of the way it is and the way it should be, because they've got some incredible insights. I love the newness that CWS brings.
Yeah.
Because, right, it's new ways of thinking. You're really good at that. You tap into the new gen of the program professionals that are there, and you get a really good idea of what they want and how they work and how they think.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm a new buyer coming into the conference, because I don't know if they're ready for what's going to happen, they're going to get bombarded with a lot of different opportunities. There's going to be a lot of different tracks to sort of, because you have multiple schedules running at the same time. So what's some advice you'd give a buyer to get the most out of the conference, especially if they're a first timer?
Well, two things. I think that for the people that are providing solutions to the buyers, really pay attention to what they've said they're looking for. As part of the registration, there are some questions, mandatory questions that we ask them, because we want to make sure that they have an experience that exceeds all expectations. Their time's really important. It's hard for them to get away from their organizations. It's hard for them to even get the approval to come. So we ask them specific questions about what they're interested in and what they want to get out of it, and we share that with the solution provider. So I would say that for anyone who's trying to provide a solution to that group, or to make sure that they look to see what it is that those people want. And then for the new people coming, we work really hard to make sure that they look at the agenda ahead of time. I think the app went live yesterday. The app has a capability for them to set their program in advance, because when you get on site, it's overwhelming. I've met people just in the hallway going, "Do you know when the next session started?" I'm like, "Yeah, like 20 minutes ago." It's a lot, and just the buzz and the activity, and we work really hard to get everybody in that one space. But look ahead, look for the topics, but also look for the companies that maybe you think are most like your companies. One of the unique things about this program is we work really hard to make sure that there are people like the people that are attending in the panels and in the workshops and on that stage, because we know that that's where they identify. They like the use cases, and they want to, they go to the topic, but they want to hear how somebody actually doing the work has been using the solution or approaching the issue, the problem, the opportunity. So, look for the companies, look for the people that are most like you. I would say definitely stick around, shake their hand, make eye contact. Again, it's fast moving, so you might not have time for to really get into what it is that you want to get into. But when you do that, like the networking part of it, the people are so gracious in this whole, like what we'll call, workforce solutions ecosystem. When you linked in with them later, when you see them in the evening, when you see them on a break or at lunch, they are birds of a feather. Like, they really love to come together and to share. They're very open that way. So, go out of your way and get a little out of your comfort zone maybe, and go up and shake their hand and get to meet them. Don't stress about what you're not getting to see. I think some people have said in the past, it's really hard to decide because you guys offer so much. It's all available for 90 days on the app. So, it's live streaming while you're at the event, but it's also on demand after. So you can go and you can catch up on all of the sessions at a different time. If you're there with somebody from your company, divide and conquer. I know it's hard because probably in our work life, we don't get to spend as much time as we'd like to spend together. And so we get there and we want to be together. And I think that's fun too, but also try to break up and go do that, because you make room for other people. Spend a lot of time in the exhibit hall. We put that together in a way. So if you are looking for a different solution, if you're looking for ideas, if you don't even know you're looking, sometimes people say, I don't know what I need. I just think I need something. Like, get in there and put yourself forward and meet the people. And it's okay. You can say, I'm not buying right now. So please don't put the hardcore press on me exploring, right? But go and explore. It's designed that way. So many of the organizations that are coming to sponsor and to exhibit there, they've wrapped their entire year around what they're doing. They have product releases, they've got branding releases, they have acquisition releases, products. It's a catalyst for launching so much of what these organizations have worked endlessly and tirelessly to put together to help power the workforce solutions. So I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I'd also add to that, if you're a brand new buyer, I think one of the people that really does this well is Keisha's sort of teamed up with people and partnered with people. And so I think if you can, as a buyer, if you see somebody that has a council member ticket on their badge, try to pair up with them and they'll kind of walk you through how to get the most out of this during the conference.
That's so true. And again, everybody's so gracious with their time. Yeah. So yeah, if they have and badges are a little bit different. You'll see they have speaker ribbons, they have CCWP certified and speaker ribbons, they have CCWP speaker and council member ribbons. I think some people get confused about what is a council member. CWS Summit is open to everybody who is qualified. You have to be in the right capacity to be there as an attendee. But if you see council member, those are the people that actually are a part of our advisory group. It is a membership. That is what Dawn McCartney and her team run. And they all know each other extremely well. And you're right, they're like the ambassadors to SIA if there was something like that at the event, and they will go out of their way to help anyone. So will all the SIA people. So many of our exhibitors, like we'll have almost 40 people there from just the SIA team and the support team. We'll all be identified. So yeah, grab anyone if you need anything at any time, and we're there to help.
And if I want to become a council member, even as a first-time buyer attending, you'd reach out to Dawn for that, then, right?
Andrea Berkshire, Dawn, Crystal Fabionaire, sorry. There's a membership desk. There's a lot of different ways. We make it really easy to do that. I think we're up to like 25 meetings already, in 2 days of people that want to do that. And look, we work really hard. You're there. The buyers are there to be able to learn, share insights, meet one another, learn what the solutions are in the exhibit hall. So, we'll spend 15 minutes, but we'll do a follow-up with you. But we'd love to, shake your hand and get to meet you, and let you do the business that you're there to do at the same time. We don't want to distract you from that.
Amazing. And so if I'm a vendor such as me, what do I do to get the most out of this? And what are some pointers? And I can share some stories too as well, but I'd love to hear your perspective on how to get the most out of the conference.
Yeah, we talk about this a lot internal. I think that the team's actually going to do a tip card because we do it. And as you know, and everyone listening might not realize this, we do quite a few webinars leading up to the event. We even do one of getting the most out of the event. And, it's some of the basic things, but then it's some of the more strategic things. If you don't be tethered to your booth, right? During the breaks and during the meals, we do drive all of the traffic into that area because we want people to be together and we want them to be able to see, oh, there's that organization, or, there's higher talent over there. I'll come back and I'll see them. So when we do that, it is really imperative that the people that each of the sponsors have that are there to represent them, be outward. Oftentimes you're excited to be with your coworker, and all of a sudden you're engaging and you're talking and you're not realizing that someone's kind of walking by and they're kind of making eye contact. But it's they aren't salespeople. They didn't go into sales. They didn't go in. They're not entrepreneurs. They didn't go into that line of business. And so there's a real difference in the personality types between the people that are sponsoring and the people that are there to learn. And so I work extra hard to be invitational and approachable and inclusive. So that's for that part, but don't tether yourself to that. And when the sessions are going on, don't think of that as your break. When the sessions are going on, be in the sessions. Just like we had said with the buyers, you can look at the program, and if there's somebody that is speaking in a company and you want to learn more about what they're doing, or somebody in an industry that you want to learn more, be in that room, shake their hand, get to know them, understand what their objectives are and what they've been through and what they want to achieve. because that's the best way to know if your solution matches, right?
Yep.
I always say, like, the shotgun approach might feel good and it might be all about activity, but really it's the quality. You want to find the ones that really want and are at the space or going to be at the space of what you have to provide. So be really strategic and smart with your time. But it's fun. Do you want to talk about things not to do?
Sure. I love that.
Do you want to start, since you said that you had some experience?
I will tell. So I'll tell you, our approach is we'll email you, and if we don't get in touch with you, then we may do one more outreach, and if that doesn't happen, then we figure at the conference we'll get an opportunity if we create an interesting experience. But last year, I remember some of the buyers, my friends, came up to me and said they got emails, calls, texts, like 6 in a row, and then when they didn't respond, they called their son, and then that was it. I'm like, you're not going to sell to anybody when you start doing that kind of stuff. So I think the thing that we always remember is to make the most out of the conference. And look, at the end of the day, we're investing in it. You only need 2 or 3 customers to come out of it. And so you don't need to reach all 600 and make sure that you get meetings with all 600. Just make a good experience, and that their buyers will tell their buyers that you're a great company if you give them a good experience. But if you harass them before you go in, you've already lost. And that's kind of so just treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, I think it's that simple. Treat people the way you want to be treated. They do remember how you treat them. Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't. I know that we're very assertive when we're trying to get heard and stand out in terms of like providing a service, a product to these people. But yeah, they're very sensitive to that. And one bad actor ends up throwing a shadow over everybody. Well, they all, and I'm like, give me the example. And oftentimes it comes down to a person, but it's so easy to put a multiplier on that. Yeah. So yeah, I think that it is to be courteous. And again, earlier, some of the things that we talked about, like actually sit down at the lunch tables and have lunch with them, if you can, and rotate that and talk about that and planning your booth. Sometimes people say, no, we all have to be here. And I go around and I go, you know what? Can you imagine if you could sit at a table with 10 of these people as opposed to standing at your booth and they're kind of cruising by getting their food and that kind of stuff, and you could divide and conquer. But yeah, the stalking, I mean, I've heard just some crazy rumors that shock me. People figuring out what rooms people are in, and and waiting at the elevator bank. And you can say the one that I think keeps going around where they get into, and that's going to just ruin it for everyone. We have a really special thing here. And when I say we, I do not mean SIA. I mean the entire ecosystem. I can't think of another event that is research and advisory backed that has the following, the enthusiasm, the support, the coming together between the suppliers and the enterprise program managers, and just the collective of who's putting it together and contributing to it in the world. So let's not ruin it, because that will ruin it. It's going to ruin it for everyone, and you will not stand out. In that moment, you might think you will, but you won't. I think the other one that I get a lot of, like around this time of the season, are the people that hang around in the lobby, right? That they're actually not the qualified attendees, and they're actually not the sponsors. And that one's that one's harder for me, because yeah.
I'll give you my perspective. If you think about CW, right, a lot of it's about compliance, right? If I'm a buyer, I want people who are going to follow my rules. And if I'm sitting in the lobby trying to break the rules to get in front of you, to become a buyer, to become a customer of or vendor of yours, like where's the trust that I'm going to actually be following the rules in your program if I'm not following the rules of just doing something simple as buying a ticket to a conference?
That's it, right? And that's the part that's really hard for me. I just don't understand the mentality of it. I understand I got to be there and I got to be aggressive and I got to drive my business, but I don't understand how everything that it is about, to your point exactly, is compliant and trust and loyalty, that you're going to go against that. And people know, like, this is the wearing of the badge. The wearing of the badge is yes, it's a conference rule, but the wearing of the badge is a security. It's a compliance issue. People want to know who they're talking to. It is you are borderline being an imposter when you're walking around with a badge from another year or a badge with somebody else's name on it. Mm-hmm. And they let everybody in the ecosystem comes and reports it.
Yeah.
So it's not a secret. It's not funny. I don't think that we should have to put a big sign out, at the entry of every door and everywhere about, what might happen if you're caught. I just think it's a professional courtesy, and it's really important. And again, I want to really stress 99.9999999% of the group behaves exactly how they should behave, and they bring so much forward. The work you all put in, the money you all spend, the passion, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the evening events, the morning events. It's unbelievable. So, while we talk about that, I really don't want that to cast a shadow over everything else. That's so amazing.
So on a positive note, if I'm a buyer and I was thinking about joining and I haven't done it yet, is it too late for me to get a ticket?
No, it's absolutely not. You can go on the site, you can click, you can get to us. We'll help you get connected and get there. We also want to really, really stress if you have somebody you report to, and if they're suggesting that maybe it's just not, it's not in the budget, it's not a good time, you can't be away. I would say, how can you not? It's an incredibly short-sighted response, because now more than ever, it is really important for organizations to support their program managers, executives to be there, because it really, Ashish, really changed.
Yeah.
This is the change that everybody has been, again, talking about. Technology, AI are probably the accelerants on that. Mm-hmm. And it is so exciting. And what the companies can get back by that really small investment of getting their people there is extraordinary. And if you can, stay around for Collaboration X too. Yeah. That's a whole different conference, but extreme value there.
So speaking of that, the GIG conference has been changed to Collaboration X. Why the change, and who do you think should attend it?
Yeah, so you've heard me say this before. Collaboration in the Gig Economy is the wild child of our group. We do 6 conferences. It's the one that changes all the time. It changes because it's underpinned by technology and innovation, and it's moving. When I came in 2016, and that was one of the events. I created that event, and it was mostly around MSP and VMS, believe it or not. A lot of questions. People didn't really know how to work in those programs. They were resisting, they were fighting, they were going around it. And then all of a sudden they've got disrupted because their account said, no, you got to work this way. And the talent said, no, I want to work at that big brand name company in that market. And if you don't service that account, then that talent's not going to come to you. So they were kind of forced into it, and we wanted to help because there was so much friction between the suppliers and the enterprises and the MSPs and the VMSs in the middle. And then all of a sudden it became about talent platforms, right? Who were like, what's this thing about Upwork? And is Uber going to get into staffing? And what's going to happen there? And then staffing platforms started taking hold, and we had predicted there'd be a convergence with the staffing companies and the talent platforms, and staffing platforms came about. I think 12 out of the largest 15 had staffing platforms just like a couple of years ago. But then the pandemic came. Then we saw some of the things that were happening with technology and remote work. Fast forward last year, we knew it was more about collaboration. It was more about how the supply chain was coming together and some of these acquisitions and technologies that was going to really start to make the things that we talked about come to fruition. And coming out of Executive Forum in March, the buzz was AI and technology and the change in workforce solutions and staffing. And so it was just a natural, went from collaboration in the gig economy to Collaboration X, meeting next. So it's the next evolution of where we are. And, take a moment to look at that program, look at those speakers. They are absolutely the most innovative. I'm doing a panel on just AI shockwaves. We've got people that are there that are doing fully autonomous recruiting firms. Some of the services and the background checking and the testing and some of the issues and the problems that exist today and how AI and technology are helping to address that. And just better outcomes, better experiences, working from your value proposition and your, problems out. So helping to shape it. Our research, again, states that technology is really escalating at a fast pace. Our entrepreneurs of the staffing firms and the program managers want it. They're a little flatline sometimes, especially on the staffing side. There's so many options, they don't really know which way to turn. So also just learning. And then we're going to have fun. Look, we got Shark Tank, incredible judges on Shark Tank. And if you haven't looked at that yet, you have to look. But we had the most entrants into Shark Tank. We were in the 40s and we only picked 5 finalists. So, and if you know from the past, we've had finalists and we've had winners of Shark Tank that are the ones you read about that are getting incredible amounts of, funding and really taking their companies to extraordinary places. So we love being the incubator rep on the conference to grow and support those organizations too. There's tech showcases. There's a podcast. Matt Matolo is there with the Human Cloud Company, and Tony are going to be there, and they're going to be podcasting for us for 2 days straight, right out of the Collaboration Hall. So it's just it's different. It's a little lighter. It's a little more boutique. I don't know if you call 600 boutique, but it feels like it is.
I love it. I think this year is the year where like hype, change, and reality converge to each other, and it's a great.
So good. Hype, change, and reality converge. I got to get that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for doing this today. I'm so excited to see you in 2 weeks or a week and a half.
Yeah. So a question, we doing yoga?
Yes, absolutely. Pilates.
Pilates. That's even better. Okay. So what morning is Pilates?
Monday morning, 6:30.
Okay. What night is the Roaring 20s event?
It's on Tuesday night at Bob's Steakhouse. And then we are also doing some Substack streaming from our booth this year.
That's right.
So if people are interested in having their voices heard and come do a conversation with me or someone on the team, we'll stream it on Substack and LinkedIn as well.
Okay, cool. And you always have the best swag. and talk about inclusive. Your group is the most friendly, inclusive group. I've heard people say, I'm just going to go hang out with them. So that goes a long way for sure. Thank you for all of your support and for what you do, really, and not just for SIA, for the entire ecosystem. It goes a long way, and you're incredibly gracious with your time and your efforts and your money and your company, and it makes a big difference.
Thank you. It's an honor. So good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you
again.
Okay.